Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Asheville City Council regular meeting for May 14, 2013. If you could just take a moment to ensure that your cell phones are either on off, silent, or even vibrate so it will not disrupt the proceedings, I would sincerely appreciate it. Thank you for doing so. At this time, we're going to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's invocation will be given by Vice Mayor Manheimer.
Thank you, Mayor. As some of you may know, by this point, every time it's my turn to do invocation, I consult with my father, Ron Manheimer, who writes the invocation and tries to generally base it on the items that we'll be discussing that evening for City Council. This invocation tonight is quite literally based on the agenda for tonight's City Council, including the consent agenda, so you'll have to pay very close attention to the items on the agenda, and the invocation is entitled Tonight's Agenda. Let us approve festivals where money is raised for causes by staging races and marches, sometimes a parade with horses. We endorse the sale of malt beverages and cups of unfortified wine, but not any spirituous liquors, whether clear or amber green. The water system enhancement project certainly sounds great. And how about that public safety radio system update? Surely helping our citizens get around the town is grand, so let's say yes to fund the multimodal transportation plan. As for shiny tarpons swimming up Craggy Avenue, those fish should stay in Florida, so barricade that venue. The new left turn lane on Highway 81's a winner. So is the boiler replacement project at Stevens Lee Rec Center. If all of this city business strikes you as just plain dull, it's because you don't understand civic virtue is a thrill. Amended budgets and resolutions are sources of great pride, a council member's equivalent of a biker's joyride. As for executing contracts and affirming proclamations, they're what make local politics the greatness of our nation. So let's get down to business. Mayor, three raps from your gavel. We've got sidewalks to approve for the folks down in West Asheville.
Let's get it done. Thank you. All right, we're going to move quickly into our proclamations, and we have two this evening. I will announce both of them from here and then present them in just a second. The first one is May 19th through the 25th, 2013 as National Public Works Week. Then recognizing May 19, 2003 as Joyride for Live Strong Day. And so if Chris Daniels, Jonathan Engel, Jacob Clout, Tim Jones, and Will Allen would meet me first, we'll declare National Public Works Week.
Trying to figure out.
Okay, someone has to come stand beside me. All right. This proclamation reads, whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works system and programs such as water, sewers, streets, and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff Public Works Department is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, I, Terry Bellamy, Mayor of the City of Asheville, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim May 19th through 25th, 2013 as the National Public Works Week in the City of Asheville, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public work officials make every day to our health, safety, and comfort and quality of life. It has the city seal and my signature making it official, and it's kind of shiny, so the light kind of bounces off of it. Thank you. Would y'all like to say what department you represent? Say some great things about your department and say your name for the record. Yes, please.
I'm William Allen, and I work with stormwater maintenance, and I enjoy doing the maintenance work to put in the pipes to keep the water out of the streets for safety, because in the wintertime it freezes up and it makes it very dangerous to travel on. So that's my job.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Beth Erickson, Sanitation Division, and I love serving the citizens of Asheville.
My name is Timothy Jones. I work for Stormwater, MEO2. I've enjoyed my job for the past 6 years, and I wish to continue working here. It's a good place to work.
My name is Jacob Klotz. I'm the Public Works Business Manager, work in Public Works Administration. Fairly new to the city, about 6 months now. Great to be here and hope to be here for a long time to come.
Thank you.
My name's Chris Daniels. I work for Public Works. I'm the downtown beautification supervisor. I'm in charge of graffiti removal, trash pickup, sidewalk cleanup, and other duties as assigned.
John Engel, Public Works Street Division, miscellaneous crew.
Now we're going to call on Laurie Masterson. Hey, crew, come on up. No? You sure? Okay. They're shy? I know who's not. Just saying. And yes, you can take pictures. Just kidding. And whereas Live Strong was founded in 1997 with the belief that unity is strength, knowledge is power, and attitude is everything. Its programs, awareness events, and advocacy work are the heart of its mission. And whereas the first Live Strong Day was held in 2004 to exemplify the spirit of people affected by cancer, and it continues today because the need still exists. Whereas in Asheville, the first Joy Ride for Live Strong, with people riding their bicycles for this cause, is Sunday, May 19, 2013 at 1 p.m. in Carrier Park, and the goal is to raise over $51,000. Whereas the Joy Ride for Live Strong is for all ages and abilities, and 100% of the proceeds will benefit our local Live Strong program at the YWCA. And whereas the Live Strong at the Asheville YMCA is a free program that is funded by local donations, and this program has made a tremendous difference in the lives of the participants. Now, therefore, I, Terry Bellamy, Mayor of the City of Asheville, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim May 19, 2003 as Joy Ride for Live Strong Day in Asheville, and urge all citizens to support this event on May 19th in Carrier Park at 1 p.m.
Thank you. I'm hugging you.
Haven't seen anything.
Mayor Bellamy, members of City Council, city staff, and my fellow citizens, I thank you very, very much for this proclamation.
One thing that's very cool is it used to be that National Livestrong Day was October 4th, but as soon as the Livestrong Foundation found out that we were doing the Joyride on the 19th, they moved it. It's now May 17th. Actually, it has nothing to do with us, but what the heck. So National Livestrong Day is May 17th from now on, and we're delighted that we're able to have such a great event for the Livestrong at the YMCA program, which is for cancer survivors and their supporters. And I'm now 1 month out of 2 years of chemotherapy and ready to start kicking again. And part of it was because of this program at Livestrong. So I have Rachel and Angie, and Rachel was one of my instructors in the Livestrong program, and Angie is just awesome development babe for the Y, and we have Livestrong bracelets for everybody, so thank you.
Thank you. Congrats.
And she said it's not too late to register. And for those of you who are at home, you can go to www.Western North Carolina YMCA. LetJoyRide.org. Or show up at Carrier Park at 1 o'clock.
Mine's large to extra large. Is that reflective of?
So, Lori, how long do we have to ride? How long is the ride?
Mayor Bellamy, you have to ride about 125. No. There's a kids ride, which is just a very short thing around the park. There's a 25-mile ride and a 50-mile ride. There's also in-spirit riders who have ridden on their exercise bicycles or in spin classes. And there are virtual riders who will not get anywhere near a bicycle, but are just going to make donations. Okay. So, and it's a fun day, fun celebration, starting at 1, going till about 5 on Sunday. And if you have children, bring them, because we have face painting and other things. And for the adults, we have beer. So,
well, I'm coming, but I'm not riding 25 or 50
that's
miles.
Fine.
But I'll be there. Okay.
We would love to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and Lauren Tamayo will be there too, our silver medalist. She's going to be riding with the little kids.
Okay, awesome. Great way to start a meeting. Council, the next order of business is our consent agenda, and we need 2 separate motions for the consent agenda. And so the first motion would entail items A through N and P and Q. And before as you consider the items on our agenda, any member of the community wishing to address council on any item on our printed consent agenda? Okay. So council, can I get a motion for items A, N, P, and Q? And that does mean N 1 and 2.
How about if I move that we approve the consent agenda except for O?
You have to be so technical. Okay, that's fine. Is there a second to approve
Second.
everything except for O? There's a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Can I have a motion to recuse the vice mayor on item O?
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve item O.
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Next, we have our presentations and reports, and we're going to have the first one is item A, the Smoky Mountain Toy Run and Evelyn St. Nicholas Project. Bill Murdoch, Steve Kaiser, and Gary Aiken will come make a presentation.
Your Honor, thank you, the members of the council. Appreciate the opportunity and the time, and just wanted to come and say thank you very much for the city's great partnership with Evelyn Charities, the St. Nicholas Project, and certainly the Smoky Mountain Toy Run. This last year is one of the biggest toy runs I think we have had. We've collected more toys, and to let you know, the St. Nicholas Project has grown in 2 years from 325 children to nearly 5,500 children. And thanks to the Tony Isafraga and us at Westgate using the old Bon Marché store and Ingles Markets with the Ingles Toy Store, our families actually come and shop, and they pick out toys just like any of us would for our children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews. So it's a wonderful program. Evelyn is certainly honored to work with the Smoky Mountain Toy Run. This was a 32nd run, and they've been doing it long before Evelyn even started, but together just shows you what strong partnerships can do and how many families children can be touched. Many of them, most of them, within the city limits here in Asheville. So again, we really want to thank everyone certainly, and for the police department and just everyone here. We finish here at City County Plaza, which is a wonderful place to come, and really to us sets off the Christmas season. So Robert Griffin, we want to thank him certainly for all of his work too, and introduce Steve Kaiser and Charles Swanger, who with the Smoky Mountain Toy Run.
Thanks. Mayor Bellamy, City Council, we'd like to present you guys with the 2012 plaque for your support for the Smoky Mountain Toy Run. We want to invite you out to ride with us this year. Hopefully you'll get a chance. But again, 6,000 children were helped by not only what you guys have helped us with, but all of the bikers and all of the people in the community that don't only ride, they still bring toys out to help this event. And I just want to say thank you for your support. Thanks so much. Charles, anything?
Thank you. That's all I've got left to say. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Well, before you leave, I have something. Today is also a day that our community will remember because of the passing of Joe Eblin and the legacy he leaves behind. You just talked about the 6,000 children who have been helped this past year with the Eblin Foundation's Toy Run, but he's helped our community with thousands of people, not only in Asheville, but Buncombe County and even Western North Carolina. So, Bill, I have something for you. It's a bereavement decree for Joe Paul Eblin, recognizing the life of Mr. Eblin from June 2nd, 1925 to May 11, 2013. Whereas Joe Eblin, prominent Western North Carolina philanthropist and community leader who created the Eblin Foundation and has touched countless lives and has enriched all of us through his life and service to our community. And whereas Joe is the namesake of Joe P. Eblin Intermediate School, and he was honored for numerous awards, including being named an Asheville Living Treasure. He received the North Carolina Order of the Lonely Pine, the mythical ram of the Rhododendron Royal Brigade of Guardians, and he was inducted into the WNC Sports Hall of Fame and the North Carolina Athletic Association Hall of Fame. And whereas, in addition to extensive work with the Eblin Charities, Joe Eblin served on the boards of Riverlink, the Salvation Army, Asheville Community Theater, and many, many others. And whereas Joe Eblin was known to thousands of players, coaches, and fans for his work as a coach, a referee, and a teacher. And whereas Joe Eblin was a man who dedicated his life to serving other people, and he was a role model, a father figure, and a beloved and respected citizen who will live in the hearts of many forever. Now, therefore, be it decreed that the mayor, on behalf of the city of Asheville, salutes the life and legacy of our community leader, Joe Eblin, and that the city of Asheville extends its deepest sympathy to the family and friends on the loss of their beloved husband, father, brother, grandfather, friend, and coach, and is entered into the record on May 14, 2013, and it has my signature making it official.
Your Honor, Terry, and all of you, thank you so very much. We did lay Joe to rest this afternoon about noon, and he died peacefully Saturday morning at home with his family, and was pretty much alert and with us till the very end. And think very few people in the history of Asheville City and Buncombe County has impacted as many lives as Joe has. Through all of us, he valued this partnership with the city, and he knew it took all of us. It wasn't just Joe, it wasn't just Evelyn Charities, but it was all of us working together to make these things work. And he did, like all of you do, you ease the lives of and the burdens of so many folks. And it's just an honor to be part of Evelyn Charities and to be part of this community. And I'll certainly make sure Miss Evelyn gets this, and there's certainly going to be a big void, but it's important for you all to know, and it's important for everyone in our community to know that the Evelyn Charities continues. Nothing is going to change there, except we have a lot more work to do. Joe's just left us the tools to keep building, and we see Evelyn Charities, even after 22 years, only beginning. So again, thank you so much for this great honor, and I'll certainly make sure Miss Evelyn and Margie and Jenny and Rock and Anna get this. Thank you so much.
Council, we have 3 updates this evening, and the first one is from the Buncombe County Tourism Development Authority. Ron Moran and Stephanie Brown will make the presentation. Welcome.
Which one is it? Right here?
Meg, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. My name is Ron Moran. I am the Vice President and General Manager of the Grove Park Inn, and also have the honor of serving currently as the Chairman of the Buncombe County Tourism Development Authority. On behalf of the TDA, I'd like to thank you for inviting us to give a brief report to update you on your work to attract overnight visitors to Asheville, bringing millions of customers to local businesses, and generating state and local tax revenue. Through the Tourism Product Development Fund, the TDA has recently awarded $1.35 million to 3 community projects. The city's own U.S. Cellular Center received a 3rd grant, bringing our total support for the renovations of this facility to $4.2 million. It's an amazing facility. I'm real proud that we've been a part of that. The development of Pack Square Park has received 3 previous grants totaling $2.5 million. We're delighted to assist the Asheville Downtown Association with a grant of $50,000 to add a canopy to the stage that's going to be installed before Labor Day, so we're looking forward to that.
Just to interrupt for a second, I think it might not be going to the next. There we go.
There we go. Oh, that's my, jumped us ahead. The third project is the UNC Asheville Foundation will receive a $500,000 to add lights to its sports field to be able to host tournaments. A lot of folks don't realize how many traveling tournaments come into the area and bring room nights, and that's projects that we've supported in the past. Adding to the already first-class sporting facilities enjoyed by our community and tracking tournaments and visitor spending in Asheville in the next year. Now, I'd like to turn over the presentation to Stephanie Brown, Executive Director of the Asheville CVB, to give you a brief update of the TDA's program of work and its effect on our local economy.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you for all of you for inviting us to be here tonight. As you know, Buncombe County ranks 5th in the state for visitor spending, attracting more than 9 million visitors to our community each year. Those visitors spent $783 million in 2011, generating $65.5 million in state and local taxes, and directly supporting more than 9,000 local jobs. When visitors spend money at local businesses, those businesses purchase goods and services. They pay their employees, who in turn spend their wages in the local economy. The legislation that created the TDA also mandates a focus on attracting overnight visitors. When we calculated the economic impact of tourism, we focused on overnight visitors to the Asheville area. And those overnight visitors create $2.1 billion of economic output each year. 30 years ago, the total economic impact of tourism in this area was $198 million, increasing more than tenfold today. When we look at a more recent trend line, we see that total visitor spending has rebounded from recession lows and has exceeded the 2007 high water mark. Last year, the total number of rooms sold in Buncombe County hit a record high of 1.5 million, representing an all-time high for the number of visitors helping our local businesses to thrive. The TDA's marketing plan implemented by the CVB builds awareness of Asheville as a place that people want to visit. And a place that people want to visit is a place that people want to live and that businesses want to locate. I'd like to briefly share this year's advertising campaign. The centerpiece of our destination campaign is a television spot that runs in Atlanta, Raleigh, Greensboro, and Charlotte. This is one version of two.
Asheville's calling. With its food, art, and unmistakable vibe. So answer the call and come explore Asheville, where you can dance to the beat of a different drum.
The campaign also includes print advertising in regional editions of Frommer's Budget Travel, Garden & Guns, Oxford American, People, Entertainment Weekly, In Style, AAA Go, and AAA Going Places South. Great food is an important motivator of travel. The Foodtopian Society campaign targets foodcationers by highlighting the culture of great food that has developed from farm to table in Asheville. This ad invites brides to vow to be different with an Asheville destination wedding, and the CVB provides assistance with our wedding planning guide and referrals to Buncombe County hotels and businesses. Our marketing and PR team has created a tightly woven strategy of traditional advertising, media outreach, and social media to attract overnight leisure visitors to Asheville. In this fiscal year, national editorial coverage was valued at $3.4 million. Recent big wins include this full-page feature in Food and Wine magazine and highlights on the NBC's Today Show that will be among nearly 275 significant media placements expected this year. ExploreAsheville.com was redesigned about a year ago to be a wonderful collection of Asheville experiences and a gateway to Asheville lodging and other visitor services for more than 3 million annual site visitors. Our Facebook fan base has topped 75,000, and our e-newsletter is read by a subscriber base of 100,000 people. Our sales team attracts groups through attendance at trade shows, hosting events in target markets, database marketing, and lots of good old-fashioned relationship building. In the past fiscal year, the team distributed 439 sales leads worth 85,000 room nights. 221 leads went definite for 43,500 room nights, and this year we are on track to book more than 50,000 room nights that will generate business in future years. What's new? We've been busy planning our future initiatives for the coming year. You'll see a greatly enhanced community engagement from the CVB and the TDA in the coming year, adding highlight events to help build community interest in what we're accomplishing through promotion and ways for the tourism industry partners to engage and benefit from our work even more than ever before. One of our strategic initiatives is increasing marketing reach. We are beginning to receive a series of information that increases our knowledge to help us broaden our marketing reach through market intelligence. We're now conducting an advertising agency review to make sure we're working with the best and brightest and most strategic partners we can. And this will lead to an expansion of the markets where we're advertising. On our sales team, we have done some research with meeting planners to better understand the sweet spot for bringing groups to Asheville, and we are now in the process of redoing all of our collateral with a focus on what we've learned about our brand from that process. We'll be rolling out concept events, taking Asheville to markets, probably Nashville, DC, and Chicago this coming year. And we also are developing a new way for meeting planners to experience Asheville called the 48-Hour Asheville Experience that will build Team Asheville and, with our tourism partners to host people, because we found that if we can just get them here to experience Asheville, then people love it. On the tourism product development side, we will be engaged in a process to refine our application process and our evaluation process to build even more clarity and transparency into that, the tourism product fund application process. And then later this summer, we hope that you'll all participate with us as we do community charrettes to help re-envision the potential of the Tourism Product Development Fund for developing more product and more community assets that will help attract visitors and improve the quality of life into the future. That's our report. Thank you very much for having us here. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say a couple of things. First, I want to say thank you so very much for the presentation today. I sincerely appreciate you all coming and giving us an update. This is the last time that you will present to this specific council. This is my last time having an opportunity to formally say thank you in this type of venue. Like you said, you have assisted in us making renovations to the U.S. Cellular Center at the tune of $4 million. And the list that you went through quickly, there were some other items that you helped, including the John B. Lewis soccer fields, which has made a significant difference, as well as the Grove Arcade and the park routes outside. And I just want to say thank you. Another thing is, Marla, we appreciate the fact that you were out recently when we were talking about the advanced birthplace, and you talked about the connection to the city of Asheville and how important tourism is to our community. And so I just appreciate you're always there when it comes to tourism, economic development, helping people to tie the knot and show how important it is to our community. Ron, thank you for your leadership through not only this process today, but just being as a chair. And congratulations on the 100th anniversary of the Grove Park Inn. I know you have a big celebration July the 5th coming up. I guess I could have gave you that commercial time. But congratulations on what you all are doing. And I know you're under new management, but you all have been good community partners in the past, and we appreciate that. But today I salute you for the report, for what you all are bringing. That public-private partnership is so critical to the success of our region. And that looking at that bump over the 20-year period of having that funding to look and model our community to the rest of the Southeast, and now it's expanding, Stephanie, under your leadership, it's going to make a difference, and it has made a difference. And so I just wanted to say thank you so very much. I appreciate the partnerships that we have developed because it's grown over the years, and I appreciate that. So we do have our liaison to the board. Mr. Smith, would you like to say anything?
Well, you covered a lot of the thank yous there, the work that y'all have done with the Civic Center, and more recently with the Canopy project out here in the park and the work out at UNCA. It's been a real pleasure to learn the business from y'all over this last 18 months that I've been up there working with the TDA. And congratulations on breaking records for room nights here. I think that, in 2009, it wasn't really clear that we'd be here now. And it has taken a lot of shoulders to the wheel to get here. And so I think that everyone just needs to be able to acknowledge that the industry's back. And while I've got you here, Assistant City Manager Jeff Richardson was able to come and present to the board about our city budget and some of the challenges that we're facing here. And I was just wondering if y'all could reflect on that a little bit with the 9 million visitors that are coming here and some of the budgetary challenges that we're facing around just kind of basic infrastructure needs. I'm wondering if y'all could reflect on that a little bit with us. Go ahead.
One thing that we're really proud of in the history of the TDA is that, through this strategy of constant reinvestment of those occupancy tax dollars, we've expanded, the benefit to the local economy from $198 million to over $2 billion a year, generating more than $65 million in state and local taxes. And, we've been close partners with the city over these years in developing specific infrastructure and addressing those needs that the city has, and the TDA supports, the continuation of this successful strategy.
Well, I also appreciate this summer, the charrette, that there's an opportunity for other partnership to emerge. And so I'm looking forward for us participating as a council and as a community to talk about the opportunities that abound for us to continue the partnership at another level. So I'm looking forward to that possibility.
Yeah, Mayor, if we could put in a plug for the Tourism Product Development Fund, it is open, and there's information at our website, but anyone can participate, anyone can submit. How many submissions did we get this last year? We had 15 this last year. We'd love to see that doubled. We've got a great group of the Tourism Product Development Committee that spend countless hours going through these to find the projects that are going to benefit our community as a whole, and anyone that wants to participate. Appreciate the 30-second ad for please, please, please.
And last thing, thank you for allowing your staff to help Ben Van Camp develop a very, very strong video for the Ironman competition. I feel like the Asheville Lake Lure product that was created really puts us in a strong position. I mean, of course, part of the narration, I'm a little biased about that. However, it is a very strong video, and so thank you so very much for your staff putting that together and to helping us to put our best foot forward. Other comments? Councilman Bockwell?
Yeah, I would just interject that given that we have the lowest room tax in the state, it would really help if y'all wanted to help us get that bumped up so we could get some more tax revenue here, because although you generate a lot of tax revenue, not very much comes back to the city. We get a very tiny amount of the sales tax back, and when we see Wilmington with an 11-cent room tax and we have 4, we could certainly make it a little higher and not scare off any of the business that you're drumming up. Thank you.
I'm sure you're aware of that, just for the folks who are listening at home. You know, of course, our occupancy tax of 4% is charged on top of the state and local sales taxes, bringing that total to 11%. So thank you for the opportunity to clarify that for everyone at home.
Not to belabor things, but the mayor mentioned Ben Van Camp and the Sports Commission. Y'all have been such a great partner with the city, the county, and UNC Asheville at doing that. Without TDA and the Chamber of Commerce, the Sports Commission would probably not really exist right now. So thank you very much for that. We're getting ready to go down to present a bid at the end of the month for another opportunity on Southern Conference coming here, and the Ironman, just all these things. This week, the Mission Charity, or Mission, I'm going to mess the name up, but Mission Hospitals joining us with the LPGA Futures Tour, the Symetra Tour, and it's just, these things are happening all the time because of the partnerships, and it's generating a lot of revenue for the community, a lot of activity, a lot of neat things to be proud of, a lot of entertainment, and
a lot of jobs.
And a lot of jobs, and we appreciate so much what y'all do for us there.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Council, the next update will be from the Transit Commission. Julie Mayfield will make the presentation.
Maggie, do you do this or do I?
You can just hit F5.
F5? Perfect. All right. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to come talk to you. My name is Julie Mayfield. I'm chair of the city's Transit Commission, and before I get started on my presentation today and report to you, I just want to commend you all for your participation in the Strive Not to Drive events this week so far. I think we had most of you on the leadership ride last night, and that was great, and want to particularly thank Councilman Davis, Smith, and Hunt for your participation in the first annual Crosstown Rumbler this morning. We made the mistake of getting Jan's competitive juices flowing, and he drove his little speedy BMW to victory in that Crosstown Rumbler. But barely, that's true. Very important. He was only 3 minutes faster than Gordon on the bus, who was only a minute and a half faster than Mark on the bike, who got stuck at a traffic light for a long time. So all that to show that multi-modes are competitive, time competitive. All right. So what I want to do today is just give a little bit of an update about the things that we're working on now on the Transit Commission, and then also tell you sort of what our goals are for this year and the things that we're working on. So just to remind you, here's what we do. We don't have a separate mission statement apart from what we're tasked with doing in the city ordinances. So our job is to study, investigate, and advise the city on matters related to the transit system. These are some of the big things where we spend most of our time, I would say, is looking at the direction of the transit system, addressing problems with the system, focusing on to make sure that we're providing a quality transit system, and then coordinating with other agencies, including Land of Sky and Buncombe County and Henderson County. So just to remind you where we are, this is our current system map. This is actually, this month is the first anniversary of the rollout of this new system. We rolled it out during May of last year, actually during Strive Not to Drive. This was the first phase of the Transit Master Plan implementation. Some of the particular goals that we were trying to accomplish with this system were to create more frequent service on the major routes, improve our on-time performance, and also have some ways for people to make connections in the system without coming downtown. And this system does all of those things, and it did it, as you might recall, with no additional funds. And I think we're very proud of that. The staff has worked extremely hard to do that. We actually have fewer routes than we used to, but those routes we think better serve the population that they serve, and for the most part, and they serve more of the city than the old routes did. So those are important issues. As with any major overhaul of a system like this, we of course ran into problems, and we let the system settle in for a few months, started tracking the problems that we were seeing, and then both during the last 6 months of last year and then right at the beginning of this year, made some pretty major tweaks to the system. One of the big ones was adding an additional bus on the E1 route, which goes out Tunnel Road to the VA. As it turns out, this bus carries about 15% of our overall passengers, and one bus every hour just wasn't enough to handle that. So we have put another bus out there. There's now a bus service every 30 minutes out that way. As part of improving the on-time performance of the system, we moved and removed a number of the bus stops so that the bus stops now are sort of better placed according to industry standards. It used to be if you wanted a bus stop, you just asked for one and you got one, and that's not the way we do it anymore. But that said, we took away some stops that were apparently rather sacred to some people and were there for good reasons, and so we have put those back, a few of those. S4 is the bus that goes down South French Broad to the UNCA campus, does a loop there. It was having some on-time problems, and we were able to adjust the start time. It is still having on-time problems, and I'll talk about that more in a minute, but we did do one tweak early on to try to fix that. The N1 bus is one of the northbound buses that runs up Merriman. Thanks to some additional funds from UNCA, that bus now runs later hours on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, so that their students can come downtown and get back to campus and have a nice social life. The in route, so we have two routes that didn't come down to the transit center. The in route started in Montford at Klondike and then went kind of through Pritchard Park and up to the Grove Park Inn. That generated a lot of complaints from people who were using that bus and really needed to make transfers at the transit center. As it turns out, that route had some extra time, and we were able to then reroute it to the transit center, and that has helped that route be more effective. And then the C route is our crosstown route that takes the southern route down south of town from Emma to Walmart, and it also had some flexibility in its scheduling, and we were able to improve that a little bit. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So here's just an idea of the effectiveness of our service. We, of course, because this was the first phase of the master plan, we don't yet have the system that we want. We have a pretty good system, but it's not where we need it to be quite yet. But we do provide a valuable service. We do about 120,000 trips a month. That's about 5,000 trips a day, if that helps. So that's around 2,500. Think about it, about 2,500 riders, 2,500 to 3,000 riders. This next list of our most effective routes, and the effectiveness is a combination of factors. It's not just how many passengers you carry. It's passenger miles. It's a set of factors and a formula that I don't understand. But this gives you a sense of the most effective routes, the routes that are working the hardest in our system and doing the best. So again, S4 to AB Tech, E1 out to the VA. Two western routes, W3 goes out Patton Avenue to the Goodwill, and then W1 goes down Haywood through PVA out to Deaverview and back, and then the N1 that runs north. So I think it's interesting and good that we have sort of at least one route in each direction. That's a really good, effective route. That means we've done well in serving the city. We do still have a couple of problematic routes. The C route, that south crosstown route, frankly just continues to lose ridership, and we need to figure that out. It also just doesn't serve either end of its route very well, either Emma or the River Ridge Walmart area. So we're still looking at that. And then the S4 to AB Tech, it's one of our best routes. It's also a victim of its own success. It carries so many people and is paired with another route so that it actually frequently runs late. So we have opened conversations with AB Tech about how to address that. But it's a great route. We need it. We just need to do something to make it even better. So here are our goals for this year. We set these goals at a retreat last October. Continued implementation of the Transit Master Plan, improving the rider experience, improving connection with the drivers, and coordination with Buncombe County. So the last two I'll just address quickly. About a year and a half ago, we started monthly meetings with the drivers so that we can all feel like we're on the same team. We're part of the same team. There had been sort of a very distinct separation, I think, the drivers with First Transit, with city staff, and part of that's the whole union thing, but we're all on the same team, and it takes all of us to make this system successful. And so we're continuing those monthly meetings, and those relationships, I think, continue to improve. And then improving coordination with Buncombe County. There are just ways that our systems, that Mountain Mobility and this transit system, the ART, can work better together, and we'd like to explore that. I'm going to go into a little more depth on the first two. So continued implementation of the Transit Master Plan. This is really about bringing more riders and more money into the system to help expand it and meet our goals. So we're doing this in a couple of ways. Number one, we are looking at developing public-private partnerships in 3 different places to help bring some private money into the system. One of those is we've been exploring with Mission and Mayheck about creating a healthcare express that would leave the transit center, go through the Mission campus, go up to the new Mayheck campus, and then come back to the transit center. And anybody could get on the bus, but it really is specifically designed to serve those medical facilities. The Mayheck facility right now is not adequately served by bus service. The bus drops people off at Hendersonville Road, and they have a long, steep climb with no sidewalks to get up to that facility. And when they open their family practice building in June or July, they're going to be getting thousands of people there a day, more people there a day, and we really need to, we're doing what we can to improve service there. We also have open conversations with Biltmore Park and Sierra Nevada and Western Carolina about getting an additional southern route that, again, is part of the Transit Master Plan. We're not sure how that's going to go. It's a pretty big price tag. It might be, even looking at it as an express route, which is what we would do, it's still a pretty big price tag. So those conversations are ongoing. And then, as I said, we just recently opened conversations with AB Tech about improving. If you could wrap it up. Okay, great. Passport members, we're trying to get more people in the passport program, particularly Mission, Mayheck, and Ingalls. And then we'll be doing a rider survey very shortly in next couple of weeks to see about the impact of the changes on our riders. improving the rider experience. We want people to treat each other nicer on the bus, and we also want to help people make better use of the system. So we're focusing on both of those. And then the final thing I'll just mention later on your agenda is a consideration of this multimodal commission. We think this is a good idea. We just want to make sure that this multimodal commission actually increases the number of transit advocates, increases the dedication, the city's dedication to the transit system, and ultimately increases funding for this system. If this commission ends up losing and drawing attention away from the transit system, and particularly the population that it serves that is dependent on it, then we will not have succeeded. So with that, I will close. Any questions?
All right. Thank you so very much for your leadership on the Transit Commission, and I appreciate what you all are doing to try to address some of the concerns that were brought up when we first rolled out ART's new system. And I know that you all have been meeting with people and talking to them, seeing how things can be put back in place or tweaked or even made better. And I'm really excited about the healthcare route and where that's going, because that has been an issue for a while since the buildings were opened. And so being able to serve a low-income population that really needs access to health care is so critically important. So thank you for continuing that conversation.
Yep.
Council, any questions or comments?
Mayor,
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of serving as the liaison to the Transit Commission since coming on to council, and I want to applaud you, Julie, for your leadership throughout your tenure there, and more recently since you became chair. I'm also really grateful to this body and to the council before it as well for, in the face of all the budgetary challenges that we've had, prioritizing transit and recognizing not only the service that it provides, but also the economic driver that it is getting people from home to work and back home again. The connections to healthcare are another important piece of that. And lastly, I want to thank the riders who kind of put up with some really big changes to the system, and who continue to give us really good feedback on what we need to do to keep improving the system. As far as the Multimodal Transportation Commission, I couldn't agree more that the idea is that each of the modes need to complement one another through kind of broader planning, and we'll kind of come back around to that a little later in the meeting. But what I'll pledge to you here today is that will remain my focus as well, Julie, so we can carry forward the goals of the Transit Master Plan of having the best system for a city of our size in the nation.
Great. Thanks. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. Council, the last update this evening would be from Jeff Richardson. He's going to give us a legislative and water update.
Good evening, Mayor Bellamy, members of City Council. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a continued opportunity that I have had over the past several months to come before City Council at each of your meetings and to give a brief update on legislative activity in Raleigh in the current session, and with a specific eye on our water system. And that's where I'll start with House Bill 488, which is basically a House bill that was ratified on 4/17 and signed by the governor earlier today.
That bill wasn't signed by the governor.
It was reported to me this afternoon, and I apologize. It was reported in the manager's office that it was, and I apologize.
He actually signed the bill that he said he wouldn't?
It became law today without a signature.
Okay, then I stand corrected. I did have someone in the office tell me that, and I apologize, Vice Mayor. It did become law as you reported, and it is now in effect. I apologize for the confusion on that.
I think, Jeff, what happened, what I understand is that the General Assembly incorrectly reported on their website that it was signed by the governor, and that has been corrected.
Okay.
So probably someone was looking at that.
Yes, and I do apologize. The staff did pull that from the General Assembly website, and I asked several times about that, and I do apologize for that confusion.
Could someone turn the phone off?
Pardon me?
Someone's phone is on.
The other piece of legislation related to that is House Bill 252, which is repeal of the Sullivan Act Amendment. This has been referred to committee, the Finance Committee, since early April, and there is no current movement on this bill as of today that I've been able to track with staff's assistance. But it does relate to our water system, and we'll continue to watch this. House Bill 418 has gotten a lot of attention here in Asheville and Buncombe County. This is the establishment of a joint city and county parks and recreation authority. This was most recently referred to the Senate Committee on State and Local Government on 5/7, and city staff is continuing to work on this, on House Bill 418 and what this would mean for city services related to parks and recreation. House Bill 224 is ETJ and annexation, and the city staff have been meeting collaboratively since this moved forward. They've been meeting collaboratively with Buncombe County staff and will continue to do so to meet the expectations of this. And please, council, stop me if you have any questions regarding any of this update. Many of these items have been before you on a number of occasions, and so I'll move quickly unless you have questions. This House Bill 708, which was referred to Senate Committee on Rules and Operations on 5/2. This is the study of public enterprise systems and the use of funds that could prevent cities from transferring money from an enterprise system fund to any other funds in city government. This is the Asheville de-annexation, House Bill 568. Specifically removing property within the corporate limits of Asheville. I've had this before the City Council previously, and this property would include property at the Asheville Airport. Senate Bill 363, business tax reduction and reform. Staff continues to keep an eye on this. Because of the impending January 1st, 2015 date, which is a little over a year and a half away, but if we were to just lose business privilege license as they are designed today, it would be a general fund loss of around $1.7 million annually. Senate Bill 394 is basically the tax reform bill, and we've continued to look at a significant amount of activity in Raleigh regarding tax reform. We'll continue to track that. Lots of updates coming from the League of Municipalities and Metro Mayor. Metro Mayor's Association will continue to track that. There's been a lot of different variations of what this might look like and how that would affect cities and counties. This is the House Bill 962 for adoption, allowing cities to adopt a half-cent sales tax within their corporate limits for certain infrastructure improvements. And this has been referred to the Committee on Rules, Calendar, and Operations on 418, and I'm not sure at this point that it's getting a lot of attention. House Bill 664, Jonathan Feldman and his staff have been tracking this regarding the limitations that it would put on municipalities' authority to regulate cell tower deployment. We'll continue to keep you updated on this. I have mentioned this to Council previously. This is Senate Bill 612, Regulatory Reform Act of 2013, which would require DENR to develop minimum design criteria for stormwater runoff permits and alignment at the local government level. Council had questions about this last time. It was referred to House Committee on Regulatory Reform on 5/7. We'll continue to track this. I do have also one addition that I would just make Council aware of briefly, House Bill 530. This is a bill that I became aware of late this afternoon. It's a local bill. Analysis is underway, and it would eliminate the ability of Asheville to enforce signage regulations for properties annexed after 2005. And I'm just learning about the breadth of this bill, and staff in the planning department made me aware of it this afternoon. And Council, you may have more information than I do on that at this time.
Okay.
That's the summarization of what we've got right now, and be happy to answer any questions that you have, Mayor, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, and I'm getting the city manager to give us an update on House Bill 488's legal standing now for council. Any questions?
Question for you, Jeff. On that last item that regarding signage in recently annexed areas, is that a bill specific to Asheville or provision specific to Asheville, or is it statewide?
That is my understanding. It's a local bill. I'm fortunate that Ms. Tuck and Ms. Daniel are both here, and I think they both may have a little bit more information on it than I do at this time. But Judy, is that correct, that it's a local bill?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We just got the information on it yesterday, and it's local. It's added on to another bill that was already introduced, and it affects properties annexed since 2005. And we have a map we can send you of those properties and the language.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
This includes voluntary annexations? Folks who
It just says annexed. And the language is very broad. That's all we know.
It didn't pass with the rider on it, and so it did come out the House not too long ago. And so, but it may come back up, and so it's not on 530. 530 is an MPO bill, and so we will get it, but it's not on that language. So that bill passed out the House, and it's on its way to the Senate, but we should look at it because it impacts airport roads and annexations and signs on airport roads.
Thank you.
And just to underscore for folks watching that with all these bills still in play, it's been pretty difficult to nail down the budget numbers, and so there's still a lot of kind of moving targets, and we're waiting to see what the General Assembly is going to be doing before we can really have the hard numbers that we need for the budget.
And Martha, I know it just happened, so you may not have all the details just yet.
Yeah.
Babos is in Raleigh today, and this afternoon had an opportunity to speak before a judge in Wake County. Do you want to speak to what's
Right.
status?
It's my understanding that House Bill 488 that transfers the Asheville water system to this new organization with the Metropolitan Sewage District became law today. Bob Oates, along with certain other attorneys that have been retained by the city, they're in Raleigh now, because in order to sue the state of North Carolina, you have to file in Wake County. It is my understanding, and I have not spoken with Bob Oates yet, they were down there requesting a temporary restraining order. That temporary restraining order, as I understand, has been entered, which means essentially that the TRO has been granted.
And so that means effectively tomorrow we don't have to hand over our water system to a city, entity that doesn't really exist just yet.
That's correct. That temporary restraining order will delay the effective date, prevent that effective date from going forward.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any
Question,
questions?
Ms. McGlowan, could you describe the process from here, the motion for preliminary injunction, the hearing for that, the time frame for that, what might happen after that depending on how the preliminary injunction hearing in a few days would occur?
Right. The temporary restraining order is only for a very limited period of time. Following that temporary restraining order, the parties would have to go back into court asking for a preliminary injunction, and then the court will determine at that point in time whether to grant the preliminary injunction. And if the court should grant a preliminary injunction, that would further stay any implementation of House Bill 488 while the parties move forward to litigation.
And the preliminary injunction hearing might occur within 2 weeks, I think I've heard. Is that roughly correct?
That's correct, under the statute, and I can't recall the specific time for the temporary restraining order. Ms. Manhammer, perhaps you can help me. I believe it's 10 days, and then after that, the temporary restraining order is no longer effective, and that is when the preliminary injunction would kick in.
And then if, just playing it out a little further, if preliminary injunction is granted, the next step, which is probably months down the road, would be a trial that
there would be a whole lot that would have to happen in between then, because the complaint would have to be filed, and once the complaint is filed, that would have to be served, and then once that's served, then you have to respond to the complaint, file an answer to the complaint. Usually, and I'm not particularly sure in this particular case, but I believe that it would fall under the general rules, and that's 30 days. Each party would be given the opportunity to have an extension of that time. And generally, you're granted one automatic extension, but you can get an additional extension. So it could be anywhere from 30, 60 to 90 days before an actual answer is filed to the complaint. And then once the answer is filed to the complaint, then the parties move forward. In this particular case, there may be some type of and Esther, if you can help me with the...
I had a chance to review the complaint, and it's kind of a bifurcated complaint where it makes several claims regarding the challenging the validity of the statute based on the statute being unconstitutional on several grounds. That would probably be a decision made by a judge. And if the city is unable to prevail on those claims, it may be able to prevail on the secondary claims, which are for compensation if the system is to be taken. And the complaint asks that if the matter of compensation that would be a jury question, that the case be transferred back to Buncombe County for that type of a trial. So you can see it's a long process. There'll be motions heard, and it'll be extensive. There'll probably be discovery conducted, and at any rate, we're right at the beginning of a very long process.
With the next step being the preliminary injunction hearing, which is
that's the
within less than 2 weeks, and that's a very key day.
That's correct. I have not had the opportunity, and I know Ms. Anheimer has actually looked at the draft complaint. I have not really looked at the draft complaint, so that's why I was a little bit not sure of exactly the procedure from that point on. But there are issues of law that only a judge can rule upon, and then the issue of just compensation is a jury issue, but we're a long way away from that right now.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Any other questions from council? So we did overcome the first hurdle for tomorrow, so we will keep you all abreast of what happens going forward. Council, the next order of business is the progress report by leaders on an effort to establish a dog park in North Asheville. And I'll call on Councilman Pelley to make the presentation or to introduce the speaker.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. At present, the city of Asheville has 2 dog parks in East Asheville near the John B. Lewis Soccer Complex, and in West Asheville near the French Broad River Park. Both are very popular facilities, well used and well loved, but not as convenient for some in town as others. And the residents of North Asheville, Mayor, have been hard at work to try and create a dog park in their area of town here, and have come to council tonight to update us on the status of that and to ask the city's support on a resolution tonight formalizing city support for this, to a resolution to support the development of a dog park in North Asheville. And to give us an update on that, I'd like 2 speakers, Julie Macarin and Kevin Reese, to come talk to us and tell us what's happening. So, Julie, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Bellamy and members of council. My name is Julie Macarin, and I live at 55 Sonnet Lane in North Asheville. I'm here before you today representing the membership of the Friends for North Asheville Dog Park to talk about our effort to establish an off-leash dog park in our community. Some of our members are here today. We're wearing our dogs' leashes, and I'd like to ask them to stand up and be recognized.
You know, when we made the leash law, it wasn't for the owners. I'm just saying, it wasn't. But okay, thank you all.
We're not chained, though. Just leashed. All of you have received a copy of a recent article in North Asheville Life about our group and our mission. So you may know that we are more than 50 members strong and have been meeting regularly to share ideas about the design of the park, the fundraising strategies and management, publicity, and finding an appropriate site for the park. Our work thus far has been exciting and productive. The energy and enthusiasm among our growing membership is palpable. As you know, we currently have 2 dog parks, as Chris mentioned, one in West and one in the East Asheville. While we appreciate those amenities, we unanimously believe that a dog park on the north side of town would be infinitely more accessible to us. And we unanimously believe that a dog park on the north side of town would be it would have multiple benefits for our community. Aside from the obvious advantages for our dogs, a neighborhood dog park also promotes socialization, recreation, and camaraderie between owners. It's an incentive for more dog owners to get outdoors, to make friends, to share pet-related information, and to bring neighbors together around a common passion. It promotes successful pet adoptions due to the availability of a local resource of this kind, and it makes real estate more desirable. I know I've made many new friends through this process and have found a group of like-minded citizens who want to make our wonderful community even better. We have been working toward meeting our goal and collectively are prepared to do whatever it takes to make this North Asheville Dog Park a reality. We expect to be responsible for raising the funds that will be needed. We have both the willpower and the people power to get that done. To date, we have had the benefit of Councilman Pelley's involvement, as well as assistance from Debbie Ivester of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources. We have been able to discuss our plans with Kathy Ball from Public Works, as well as with Shannon Tuck from the Planning and Development Department. All of them have been tremendously helpful and encouraging to us. At our May 6th meeting, we were able to announce that an excellent prospect has been identified as a location for the park. The site is part of the former Tom's Estate on Beaver Dam Road near Wild Cherry. The developer Arc Development has identified some unused acreage that is accessible and in fact is nearly ideal for these purposes. At the conclusion of these remarks, I will ask Kevin Reese from Arc Development to say a few words about the site and his involvement with our effort. Our group and planning efforts have evolved to the point that we would now like to formally request the city's endorsement of this project, as well as to ask the council to direct the city manager to provide appropriate staff support by appointing a primary liaison to our group. Does that mean something?
Yeah. To wrap it up, please.
Okay. Our group, I have a couple more paragraphs, and I think we have, was that 10 minutes?
It was, how much was that?
That was 4.
That was
Yeah, and we have more than 50 people. I mean, we have 10 minutes.
We're trying to give him 5, you 5. To
Okay, he has shorter time, so I'm going to just go as quickly as I can. Do you mean Kevin? Because his remarks are brief.
We'll put 6, but that's the entire time.
Total,
for the
okay.
presentation.
Our group and planning efforts have evolved. Okay, I already said that. It would be our pleasure to partner with the city and the developer to bring this idea to life, and we are prepared to do our part to make that happen. We are grateful for all you've done to make our city the inviting, safe, and sustainable place it has become. We hope you consider a North Asheville Dog Park as being in alignment with the city's goals and an invaluable asset for its residents. And now I will introduce Kevin Reese, the Director of Development and Construction with Arc Development, to say a few words, and then we can answer questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Kevin, if you can just state your name for the record.
I will. My name is Kevin Reese. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members, thank you very much for your time. I'll be brief, as she mentioned, and try not to hear the beep again. As I said, I'm Kevin Reese. I'm the Director of Development for Arc Development of North Carolina, which is a part of the ownership group of the Tom's Estate. I was approached several months ago from the dog park people, as I call them, and regarding, we have approximately 8 acres. It's adjacent on Beaver Dam Road and Wild Cherry Road that we've got some plans for, but this is something that could be incorporated to it or completely redone, and it's something that we're open to. I had a couple other meetings with staff members. I've met with Mr. Pelley, and I took some preliminary ideas back to Ronald Britton, who is the owner of the property and the owner of my company. He's very interested and intrigued and wanted to hear more. Last month on April 5th, we had a little site meeting out there to kind of look at the land, and Ron happened to be in town, and he gave his public consent there with everybody standing there that he would like to keep the vehicle moving forward and think it could be a great thing for North Asheville. So I'm here representing the owner to say that, and that, you know, we're here to keep the vehicle moving.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Reese. Mr. Reese. Mr. Pelley.
So, Mayor, we have a resolution tonight to put the city on record for this, but also the citizens group has identified a $5,000 donation to help support the cost of a design process for the site here. An additional $5,000 is needed to fund the process. Funds are available in the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department in the current year's savings. Once this site design is complete, staff will bring the dog park design to the Recreation Advisory Board and to City Council for consideration of a park construction budget. So tonight, it's action on the resolution on this here. And would you like me to read that?
It's up to you. Everybody has a copy here.
Okay, I'm not sure the members of the public. Whereas the City of Asheville is authorized pursuant to Article 18 of Chapter 160 of the North Carolina General Statutes to provide for programs and facilities for recreation, and whereas the citizens in the North Asheville area have been working to establish a dog park in North Asheville, and therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Asheville as follows. 1, the City Council supports and endorses efforts to establish a dog park in North Asheville. 2, subject to budgetary and administrative limitations, the city will cooperate with citizens in the establishment of a dog park in North Asheville, including the designation by the manager of a staff liaison to assist in the process.
All right, Council, it's not a public hearing, so we need a motion to open it up for public comment.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, the motion has been made. Any comments on the issue? Okay. Council, any questions, comments? Or
Question here.
Councilman Hunt.
I've got dogs at my house. I live in North Asheville. I'm one of those people that has driven across town to take my dogs to play, so I really would look forward to this. Just a couple of questions for clarity. And I've been involved in a couple meetings with folks in the community and with Councilman Pelley, and I really appreciate the leadership at both levels on this. Chris, I think you had said to me earlier that in addition to the property owner providing for no cost to the city a site for this, that the capital costs to develop the site would be raised entirely from private sources, and that this is not a proposal that the city would include in its capital budget funds to develop the park. Is that the understanding from between the public and you?
Yes, that is the understanding, and the only cost associated for the city is in the site design work, not in the capital construction work.
Right, and the reason I want to be clear about this is that the competition in the parks and recreation arena for capital funds is extremely intense, and I'm looking out and I see folks that are interested in greenways and other things as well, and so some of you know that. I just wanted to be clear about that, and that's really my one question. I want to make sure we move forward under that understanding, so I'm supportive of the resolution.
I've got a question along that line. So there's a $5,000 donation. The city would be expected to contribute a matching $5,000 for the design process. The actual construction would be paid for through donations or some other private source. And then the maintenance of the park long-term, what's anticipated in terms of the annual maintenance of the park?
Well, we've had some discussions about that as well, too, that the citizens are willing to also work to ensure that the long-term maintenance is fundraising occurs for that as well, too, here. I think it's really significant and important to acknowledge that the community's taking this on, and you all are being applauded for that, but also recognize that it is a commitment that you're taking on here. But once we have a site design plan, then we'll know what costs are involved in actual construction there, and so this is an important preliminary step that needs to occur for the actual fundraising for the improvements to begin.
Okay, thanks. That answers my question. I'm very impressed with all of the legwork and all of the participation, and I wish every project were launched as well. And your strips your signs are very good. Looking good.
All right, any other comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item D, the permit fees for farm markets. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Judy.
Yeah, I just want to make one addition. Oh, sorry.
Could you exit quietly? We're going to continue with the rest of the meeting. Thank you all so very much.
You asked for this analysis, and we're happy to give it to you. One thing I did want you to know, though, is given the topic of the farm issues, the Planning Commission will be discussing the broader issues related to urban agriculture in June. So we are making progress on that part of the food policy report as well. So, Gordon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for hearing this tonight. When the fees and charges schedule was passed a few weeks back, I wasn't able to be here that night, but as part of that, some of these farmers markets fees went up, and it's my perception that it was that fees and charges schedule is so packed that I think that this may have gotten overlooked. And in January, when we passed the food action plan, one of the items there was to optimize permitting and fee structure for farmers markets. And then in March, of course, we elevated that food action plan to one of our top strategic priorities as a council. Back in 2010, the mayor and I, as I recall, I can't remember who all was pushing it at the time, we were looking at event fees for nonprofits in the city, and we created a 75% fee reduction for those nonprofits, in large part because we know that the missions that they're undertaking are serving our city's strategic goals. And so I was going to ask council tonight to entertain that same 75% reduction for our farmers markets in an effort to strengthen our food systems, move closer to food security, decrease poverty, improve public health, and strengthen local commerce. And I'd appreciate any feedback that y'all might have on that.
Well, I'd like to, excuse me.
Councilman Hunt.
I'd like to offer that I'm supportive of Councilman Smith's initiative here. I would highlight that by reducing the fee 75%, it would cost the city a net of $2,000, which is, while there is subsidy involved here, it's a very worthwhile investment to support the goals of the food action plan. And so I'd like to make that a motion that we adopt that fee schedule as recommended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Since this is not a public hearing, I'm not taking a public comment at this time. Yes, if you come, state your name for the record. And the motion, and if you would make a comment on the motion that's on the table.
Okay. My name is Josh O'Connor. I'm with the Oakley Farmers Market Board of Directors, and I appreciate the motion that's on the floor tonight. We just had a few remarks that we wanted to express to council concerning the fees as it pertains to farmers markets, and I believe most of you have seen my emails on the topic, and it's something that we've been concerned about since our first season. This is now our second season in operation, and we just are concerned about our ability to sustain operations if we're having to have our volunteer base simultaneously fundraise and support market operations at the same time. We do feel like we're working to advance the state objectives that are in the food action policy, and it's a little hard for us to do the work that we're doing and pay for it at the same time. One of the things that we've been able to do as a community is transition our focus as a neighborhood from a traditional neighborhood association to something more focused on the farmers market. That's enabled us to have a constant gathering place for people in the community and really have a core mission, and that's providing food in one of Asheville's mapped food deserts. So we feel that a reduction in fees would enable us to have a little bit more operating money to work on actually operating the market and give us a little leeway as we move through this season. So, thank you.
Any other comments? Council, we have a motion and a second we've heard from the community. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Council, we only have one public hearing. It's the public hearing to consider hearing regarding the installment financing contract for the financing of fiscal year 2013 Green Capital Improvement Plan projects. And the item that we're going to consider as part of this public hearing is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an installment contract and closing process with TD Bank for the financing of the property improvements to include LED streetlight upgrades and facility improvements, such as window treatments at Fire Station Number 7 and a boiler replacement at Stevens Lee Recreation Center. Before we begin this process, I do need a motion to recuse Councilwoman Vice Mayor Manheimer.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
And second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion passes. Eric Hardy will make the presentation. Mr. Hardy, is this your first presentation before council?
In fact, this is.
Well, welcome. It sounds like we're going to see a whole lot more of you.
I think you will.
Well, welcome.
Recent circumstances will require that.
Okay, well, welcome this evening, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Mayor, members of City Council, tonight you are, as the mayor mentioned, considering following a public hearing, a resolution to approve a $1.1 million installment financing contract with TD Bank. Proceeds from that loan will pay for the projects that the mayor also mentioned, which are LED streetlight upgrades, boiler replacement at Stevens Lee Recreation Center, and windows at Fire Station Number 7. As way of background, these projects were part of the Green CIP that you approved a year ago for fiscal year 13. And for further background, on April 23rd, Council did adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate the financing terms for this loan and also authorizing the city clerk to post notice of the public hearing. Subsequent to that meeting, the city did close its bidding process, and through an RFP process, there were 5 lenders that did bid, and the most favorable terms for that RFP came from TD Bank, quite favorable to the city. And so tonight, we're asking you, again, following the public hearing, to adopt that resolution to approve entering into that contract and authorizing the city manager to sign the agreement. And then subsequent, and presuming that you will vote favorably, then the final hurdle for this particular loan will be a June 5th hearing and approval by the LGC, Local Government Commission, and then they'll be closing on the loan. If there are no questions.
All right, we'll open the public hearing for public comment at this time. All right, we'll close the public hearing to public comments. Council, any questions, comments, or a motion?
Quick question.
Yes.
Mr. Hardy, the staff document indicates that the interest rate on the loan we would take is 1.44%, which seems phenomenally low for a bank installment loan. Now, is that a fixed rate? Are there other fees and pricing built in under the bank's offer?
Right. Is fixed rate, and there is a $1,000 closing fee. That's the only other condition on this. So the rates were competitive, and this one was lower than the others, though marginally so.
Great. I just wanted to be
yes,
clear.
sir.
Mayor, I move approval of the financing.
Second.
Any further questions or comments from council? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries. The last item under...
Mayor,
yes,
you also want to go back
resolution.
to, yes.
I'm sorry. I need a motion for the resolution as well for
So moved.
the actual purchase.
Second.
That's okay.
You good?
Yeah, well, and also I just wanted to go back to item O on the consent agenda. I don't...
We did.
Did you approve that?
Okay. So this is for the actual resolution. All in favor? I need a motion. Who made it first? You made it? Who made
And I
the second?
second.
Okay, just want to make sure. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Next, we have under unfinished business, something we've seen a couple of times, so we won't have to spend a whole lot of time this evening on. Item A, ordinance establishing the Multimodal Transportation Commission. Ms. Ball has a brief presentation keyed up for us. Brief.
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of City Council. As the Mayor mentioned, you have seen this item before. It is the development and creating an ordinance that establishes the Multimodal Transportation Commission. We have had some changes that I would point out. The first is that it does require an ordinance to establish this commission. This is the first step in moving us on the path of hopefully having it completely established by July 1st. Tonight, the action that we're requesting is that you approve the ordinance establishing the Multimodal Transportation Commission. The step that you would be requested to do next month is to eliminate the Transit Commission as well as the Greenway Commission, as they will be folded into this commission. And you would also be asked to appoint members to this board. So that's the action that is before you. I would just point out quickly that there have been some edits, and I think you've got the latest copy of those. And those were edits that were made with the consensus of the chairs of the board members that are a part of this group, which include the Bike and Ped Task Force, the Greenway Commission, and the Transit Commission.
All right, I just have one question. We did a lot of master planning segmented on the different groups that are part of this multimodal commission now. So how will the master plans be implemented? Is there a plan to roll out a comprehensive plan, and how does that look, and when will that come before us, or if it will?
There is. We have requested a grant from the Land of Sky to be able to develop a multimodal master plan, transportation master plan. And if I could take you, all of those plans exist out there. But what we will be doing is creating, much like you would a pipe networking system, to say, where do the large pipes need to be? And then where can they get smaller as they branch out? So, and then we'll overlay that with the existing plans to see how they conform with that plan. So, for instance, if you take, and I didn't bring my drawing, but if you say between UNCA and downtown, there needs to be a strong bike connection. So the infrastructure that's put in place in there needs to have a large capacity to deal with a lot of bikes. Same thing's true with the Greenway that's pretty much on its way to happen. And then those will be incorporated into that master plan. But what hopefully we'll be able to do is when we come to you with requests for multimodal improvements, you'll see that they connect to other infrastructure improvements, and you'll see that we're starting to grow the network together as opposed to having them around the city in different places and not joining together. Because I think it'll help with our capital improvement planning. It'll help with decision making in terms of how to prioritize capital improvements that come before you. But it's much like you would do a pipe networking system, and you start with the trunk lines, the biggest lines first. And you would look at where we're trying to get people to and from, and you would make those strong connections either through pedestrian improvements, bike improvements, or transit. And then we would use those master plans to align with that and maybe make some tweaking to those so that they all line up with this multimodal master plan.
And last thing, I know under the commission makeup, we have 9 voting members and 3 non-voting members from the Neighborhood Advisory Board and 2 from Planning and Zoning Commission. Is that right?
No.
Typo? I'm sorry.
That's supposed to be Stacy.
Stacy. Oh, okay. Thank you. Kathy, the only thing is, I think we're missing an opportunity with the reading over our Greenways master plan and looking at what the county's done with their Greenways master plan. It seems like we should have someone from the new entity that may get it created, but anyway, someone from that Greenway master plan community from the county's perspective, because of connection and Land of Sky through the mountain mobility, because looking at our transit system and looking at mountain mobility, how integrated they are. I mean, they are deeply connected in supporting one another. It seems like we should have someone talking, because as mountain mobility expands or make changes, it seems like it would be good to have someone kind of representing those changes, whether that's a staff person from the Land of the Sky Regional Council or someone, one of the subcontractors that they're using. But I just know how deeply integrated our systems are, and then with the implementation of the master plan on the county side, we should make room for someone at the table on that issue as well.
And we can choose to do that now if it is the council's wish, or we have committed to you all, because this is a new commission, to come back to you after a period that you designate, whether it be 6 months or a year, because we anticipate
I
that
won't be here then. Just a little oversight.
But we are committed to come back and trying to work with the group to make sure that we are considering everything. So we can either choose to do that at now, or we can choose to do that later. But I think
I would
that's
like
a good
to do
point.
it now, but
okay.
I need 3 other people, but anyway. Yes.
Let me offer a little perspective, because I've been tuned into this Culture and Recreation Authority notion and in discussions, and there are advisory boards that the county has, the Recreation Advisory Board and their Greenway Commission, that also would have changed roles if this authority comes into being. And it's such a moving target, it's so uncertain exactly what it'll look like. Mayor, the way I would see it going, in the negotiation between Asheville and Buncombe County to create the authority, the Cultural and Recreation Authority, there would need to be alignment of various boards and commissions that are advisory about all this stuff. And I think rather than anticipating how that might look, we can do that within that negotiation. But like you, I'm very concerned and very intent that all this be considered and rolled together so that representation is thorough and that that we're integrated.
Well, I do want to see mountain mobility. If you want to, I understand waiting on that piece as it's a moving target, but mountain mobility, well, Land to Sky, having them at the table is an integral part, because they can look at this issue at a larger more complexities as well. And plus, they were at the table when we did our bicycle plan, our greenway plan, our pedestrian plan. They were at the table with that as well. You want to say something, Councilman
Yes,
Smith?
please. One of the great things about this move to a multimodal transportation committee is that the transit and the greenways and the bike ped will continue to exist as subcommittees, and within that transit subcommittee there will continue to be that county appointment there, and that has been an important thing that we've recognized is, hey, we've got to align a little more closely here, and so there's part of that already built in, and it's my hope that as the Multimodal Transportation Commission comes together and recognizes what their needs are, that they could draw on that expertise, because if I were to guess, I would guess that this comprehensive plan will come to the Multimodal Transportation Commission, bounce off of the subcommittees and get feedback back through the commission, and eventually we'll get a look at it. So it's my hope that the perspectives that the mayor is mentioning can be reflected, and as Land of Sky and Buncombe County want to more closely partner with us on those goals, I'd be very supportive of that.
So Land to Sky wouldn't get a non-voting member position at the table or the bigger committee?
I think that what we have right now with the county at the transit commission level, I'd like to see how it works.
Not the county, but Land to Sky, they run mountain mobility.
I'd kind of like to see how it works from here. I mean, we haven't been working on this for a couple of months now, or several months, and having run it through those different commissions towards this, I don't know, I'm a little loath to just add something on here tonight.
Well, I think it's disappointing to have an opportunity as a member of council not to be able to tweak something, even if it had gone through various committees. You saying that it can't be changed?
Of course not.
Interesting. So I'm the only one who, I've served on Land to Sky Regional Council's board, and they are the sub-recipient of the contract to run mountain mobility. And I just think that, looking at what we're creating and trying to make sure we get people outside our city, in our city, as well as the people in our city to use various modes of transportation, that would be great at the table.
Do they currently, just a question, I don't know, do they currently hold a seat on any of our transportation-related boards? This would be a new venture. I'm wondering if it might be helpful to talk to them first and make sure they'd want to participate, because my sense of this multimodal transportation board is that it may or may not be appropriate for them, or they may or may not feel it's appropriate for them. Would it be possible to do that? I'm not sure of the logistics, but Kathy, from your perspective, are you aware of who it is you'd need to?
Yes, Ken is saying that we currently do not have any of them. I think what we could do is have a discussion with them, and as we come back to you next month with the discussion of eliminating the other two, that we could bring an amendment to it if they wish to participate in a non-voting way, and just have you amend what you have before you if that's council's wish. And that would give us the opportunity, to talk to the other commissions and get their thoughts on it as well.
Thank you. I just think it's funny to have to fight for Land Sky to get a non-voting position on the board where they wouldn't have a vote, seeing how they help with anything that comes with our Clean Fleet initiative, our compressed natural gas station there at the table. They they participate in the bike and pedestrian plan, the greenway plans, and the transit plan with their staff, and now we gotta go talk to them and see if they want to be at the table. They are the ones who run our MPO and house it, and I should have asked somebody else to bring it up, but got it. See it next month. So is there a motion?
If I may, please, I will be working with Ms. Ball as it pertains to the terms of office, the staggered terms. That language may not be as clear as needed, so the language will not be as shown here, but it will be within the intent to provide for staggered terms.
Amazing. Thank you. So we're going to see different language next month anyway.
Yes.
No,
Martha, I think what you're saying is, just to clarify.
Yes.
Are we going to be voting again, or you're saying you're going to work with Kathy to make sure the language fits the intent because there's some technical issues you want to correct?
Yes.
Do we need to vote on it again, or?
Yeah, I can give you the language that, and I don't think Ms. Ball would have a problem with it. The language would change from the way it currently reads to say, members of the commission shall be appointed for 3 years. In appointing the original members of the commission, the council may appoint certain members for less than 3 years to the end that thereafter the terms of all members shall not expire at the same time. Is that consistent with the intent? Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as presented with the amendment that Mr. Lohan just stated.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I think this is an ordinance.
Is there a second? Any member of the community wishing to address council on this particular motion? All in favor on the council, please say aye.
Mayor, can I offer?
Councilman.
We can do it after the vote. I just wanted to offer a quick perspective. It's Strive Not to Drive Week. Staff has done a great job of putting together these proposals. I want to express that appreciation. I want to highlight some statistics that just came up.
Can we carry through on the motion? Can we go ahead and carry through on the motion and then you have the floor?
Sure.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The motion carries.
This community has learned how multimodal will help us in various ways: infill development, affordability. From the standpoint of economic development and where this city is going, recent study shows that 32% of the Generation Y folks, the people born since the late 80s, that own automobiles, do not own automobiles in those cities, and those that do own automobiles in that age group would prefer not to own automobiles so that they could get around via other modes. That is where society is going. Young people would rather not have to own cars. The way our transportation infrastructure and implementation is set up makes it so that people feel like they have to own cars, but they prefer not to. So I think Asheville, by moving in this direction aggressively the way we are, is positioning ourselves to be a great city of the future, especially when it comes to economic development, because people will want to move here. Mayor, I appreciate the time to say that. I think that we have traditionally talked about multimodal in other terms, but that is the new reality for implementation of multimodal at the urban level, and it's really important for us to see that coming. Thank you.
Under new business, we have several items. I'll call on the Vice Mayor to lead us through.
All right, the first order of business is to appoint someone to the vacancy on the Greater Asheville Regional Airport Authority. And before we do that, I do want to clarify that when we do that, we also need to appoint this individual to the Asheville Regional Airport Authority, essentially the old board and the new board. We're kind of operating in parallel universes here because the new authority still cannot perform certain functions that the old authority needs to carry on, in a nutshell. Okay, we had the opportunity to interview several folks today just before this meeting, and it is a challenging decision to make. We have one vacancy to fill, so I think what I might suggest, unless anyone has any objection, is that we just kind of go down the line and say who we'd like to appoint and see if we get to 4, or if we have to whittle it down and have a runoff, so to speak. Mark, do you want to start down there?
Douglas Tate.
Tate.
Anderson.
Kate.
Philip. Kelly.
Okay, did I count 4 Tates?
Yes.
All right, 4 so 4 it is. Doug Tate will be appointed to both.
You got 3
Oh,
Tates.
I'm sorry?
You got 3 Tates.
No, we got 4.
No, there's 4 Tates.
4 Tate.
1,
I was the
2,
fourth Tate.
3, 4.
2 Kelly.
That was our.
4 Tater.
That was our. And so Doug Tate would be appointed to the Asheville Regional Airport Authority as well as the Greater Asheville Regional Airport Authority. All right.
Bright lights in Raleigh.
Yeah, there you go. Right. All right. The next one is to appoint someone to the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, and this was for the 28803 region, and we had an opportunity to interview one individual today and hoped to interview the other, and she was not able to attend, and Mr. Pelley has asked that we re-advertise that vacancy.
Yes, please.
Is there any objection to that? Okay. And when we get to the down here a little bit, we'll be re-advertising for 01 as well. Are we good? We're good? Everything?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're okay with...
We're good. Yes, re-advertising on Neighborhood Advisory Committee.
Sorry.
Okay. Finally, we need to select who to interview for a few different boards here. And we had one applicant for the Citizens Police Advisory Committee, and this person must be from South Asheville, correct? But it looks like what we're going to need to do is re-advertise on that one as well. And next, on the Civil Service Board, we recommended re-advertising this one as well. The Historic Resource Commission, we had several very good applicants, and boards and commissions recommend interviewing Woody Farmer, Sue Russell, and I'm not going to say this, William, help me with the last name. Akins, something like that. Would anyone like to interview anyone in addition to those 3 folks? No? You guys are a lively bunch tonight.
And at that meeting, I'm sorry, reappoint Mr. Nutter?
I'm sorry, and reappoint Dave Nutter. That was the recommendation from boards and commissions, unless anyone has an objection.
So the Nutter reappointment will be effective now?
Yes, and then there's still 2 more vacancies,
Okay.
so we'll interview the 3.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Good.
We need a motion on Nutter.
I'll do it at the next council meeting when you interview. I'll just do all 3 of them together.
Okay. And then finally, we had the Neighborhood Advisory Committee vacancy for 28801, and that needed to be re-advertised. So we'll do the 28801 and the 28803 all at the same time. And that's it.
Motion to go in closed session, and as we're preparing the motion, we have individuals who have signed up to speak with City Council, and the first one is Dan Bridges.
Mayor, move that Asheville City
Just
Council.
before you
Oh,
read
I'm
it.
sorry. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Dan Bridges, 5 Angel Circle. I have been on the volunteer handicap program here in Asheville for the last 4 years. In that, I've seen hundreds of violations, not 1 or 2, and repeated violations by individuals that readily admit that if I get a ticket, it will just be written off. It's discouraging to hear that from people. Last week, I was going to cite two people. Both of them said, well, I just got my ticket written off by the town. Again, they were illegally parked. It's discouraging to go out there, try to do a service for the city. I work for the city of Laguna Beach. I work for the city of Laguna Niguel. I work for the county of San Bernardino and the county of Orange in California. Most of the tickets we cited were honored by the city. They weren't waived. I'm not saying that that is a good punishment. A handicap parking in California right now is $1,000 fine. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but people don't violate it twice. I went up to one person this last week in a Cadillac Escalade. No placard on the window, no license plate. I saw a blue placard in her window. I said, may I see that, please? She handed it to me. It expired in 2010. I said, I'm going to have to write you a citation for this. I've been instructed to write any citation for expired placards. And that way they have to take their new placard down to, well, I was extremely rude in doing this. She did not like it. Well, that's too bad. I've had my badge torn off my neck by people here in the parking lots. You know, it's no big deal. I will walk away from it. And I did with this woman too after I gave her the citation. But one of the issues I have is horizontal parking in Asheville area. People think they can park vertically on it. When they park vertically on it, they're blocking the wheelchair path. And these people, they really get irritated with me. But for everybody that gets irritated with me, I've had 5 thank me. And that is a pleasure. But I would like to see striping improved here in the town of Asheville.
All right. Mr. Bridges, thank you so very much for your comments and your volunteer service. Believe you, me, I understand more than you would ever imagine how it feels to want to serve and do the right thing and not get supported. So is there any way we can have our chief of police to look at our current practices and look at who gets the parking ticket, the citations, and see how we can make the system better? If it's the city of Asheville, how do we make it better? Or is it over in Buncombe County Courthouse?
Yes, ma'am. We certainly will do that. I'll take the information that this gentleman's provided this evening. I'll speak to staff, and we will get something back to the city council on that.
Thank you. So we'll see how we can make the process better.
I would like to say that issuing a citation is not, for every citation I issue, I warn at least 3 drivers. And if I can go up and the person is in the car, I try to advise them why they should not have parked there.
Understandable. Thank you so very much. Yes.
I have a question that staff will be able to answer as part of that, I think. I've heard that one can appeal those citations, but I'd like to know if we track them so that when we get some multiple abuser of that they ought to start getting the fine. You know what I mean? If, as you've just reported, you hear people say, well, I'll just get taken care of again. They could take care of it once, maybe. But
I believe that our software has the capability to run a history on a particular tag to be able to tell us what the activity has been. And I also believe that our staff, that is housed out of the transportation department. And I do believe our staff, when under appeal, they have the ability to go in and look at driver history or tag history, and they can take that into consideration when looking at the circumstances. I'll give you a more thorough report, though, for the council's consideration in the near term.
Thank you so very much. That's the only sheet that I have this evening. Any others wishing to address council this evening? Yes, sir. If you can come forward and state your name for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, council folk. My name is Timothy Sadler, and I'm here to talk about the transit I am a frequent rider and have had a couple of bad experiences this month. One was a bus running 24 minutes late, and the other experience was on the E-routes, which continue to be habitually late. So, it's great riding the bikes from City Hall around and everything, but I really wish y'all would take transit seriously, as we love to hear about how sustainable we all are and how green of a city we are. We need to make a commitment to public transportation because it's just still a laughing stock for people that I talk to that come in from other cities that actually have reasonably addressed their transit system. So with the election season coming up, I hope that all the candidates make firm commitments to improving our transit. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, now we can read the closed session motion that we have.
Are we doing announcements, Mayor?
You can do so if you would like.
I would like to do a very brief one to let everyone know that the Neighborhood Advisory Committee is holding a public meeting on Monday the 20th at the Recreation Center on 72 Gaseous Creek Road. And per their work, they are going to be reporting to East Asheville residents on different growth and development issues coming forward in East Asheville, including the Whole Foods and the improvements at Gaseous Creek Road. And the public is invited. That'll be at 7 p.m. on Monday the 20th. Thank you. Great. Okay. Mayor, move that the Asheville City Council go into closed session for the following reason. One, to consult with an attorney employed by the city about matters with respect to which the attorney-client privilege between the city and its attorney must be preserved, including a lawsuit involving the following parties: City of Asheville versus William Husky, Buncombe County Superior Court, Civil Action Number 9, CVS 2040. The statutory authorization is contained in GS 143-318.11A3. 2, to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment of an individual public officer or employee. The statutory authorization is contained in GS 143-318.11A6, and to prevent the disclosure of information that is confidential pursuant to GS 160A-168, the Personnel Privacy Act. The statutory authorization is contained in GS 143-318.11A1. Third, to prevent disclosure of information as privileged and confidential pursuant to the laws of North Carolina or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statutes. The law that makes the information privileged and confidential is NCGS 143-318.10E. The statutory authorization is contained in NCGS 143-318.11A1.
Second.
Motion has been made. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're in closed session, and council will adjourn from closed session.